Yeah. Good afternoon. My name is B.J. Pack. I am the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. I'm joined today by Deputy Assistant Attorney General David Rebicki, the Acting Chief David Jaffe of the DOJ Criminal Division Organized Crime and Gang Section, and Assistant U.S. Attorney Catherine Hoffer, who is also the Deputy Chief of our Violent Crime and National Security Section, Trial Attorney John Hanley of the Department of Justice Criminal Division, the ATF Special Agent in Charge Art Peralta, Cobb County District Attorney Vic Reynolds, Cobb County Police Chief Michael Register, and Commissioner Greg Dozier from the Department of Corrections of Georgia. Violent gangs have stepped up their presence in our district and across our nation for the past few years, and they have significantly contributed to the increase in violent crime and other criminal activities in our neighborhoods. Fighting against violent crime and violent criminal organizations have been one of the top priorities of the Department of Justice and the United States U.S. Attorney's Office. Indeed, a few months ago, our office, in conjunction with the Department of Justice, announced charges against 70 members of two different gangs, Gangsters Disciples and 9 Trey Bloods, for activities ranging from racketeering and violent crime and drug trafficking. To continue our fight against violent gangs, our law enforcement partners at the federal, state, and local level are here today to announce a major enforcement action against another dangerous gang, the Ghostface Gangsters. Today, we unsealed a 21-count indictment through which 23 members and associates of the Ghostface Gangsters are charged. Members of this gang are charged specifically and allegedly committing numerous crimes that range from drug trafficking, both inside of our prison system and outside of the prison system, violent assaults against innocent citizens, and even against their own members, and of course, the murder of law enforcement officers. Also today, we're here to announce that we conducted arrests to bring the indicted individuals into federal custody. Ghostface Gang originated in Cobb County Jail in the 2000s and has since spread through Georgia's jails, prisons, and elsewhere. Matter of fact, there are over 2,000 confirmed gang members that are currently incarcerated in the Georgia prison system. Law enforcement estimates that there are approximately 5,000 members of this gang operating throughout the Georgia prison systems and outside, and in parts of Tennessee and Alabama. The public should understand that even though they primarily have been operating inside of a prison, their violent and murderous criminal enterprise also operate in our neighborhoods. During last 4 years, Ghostface Gangster members allegedly shot at a dozen law enforcement officers. In those instances, gang members actually shot 5 officers and killed 3 of those law enforcement officers. 2 of those who died in the line of duty were corrections officers transporting prisoners, and the 3rd was a sheriff's detective from Polk County. Our commitment to the safety of the citizens of our district, state, and nation is paramount. We will continue to attack these criminal enterprises that drive violence and fear throughout our state. And we are fully committed to prosecute their members and dismantle their ability to commit further crimes. Again, I want to thank the men and women of our law enforcement partners for their dedication and hard work. At this time, I'll turn the podium over to the Deputy Assistant Attorney General, David Rebicki of the Justice Department.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here today, U.S. Attorney B.J. Pak. I'd also like to thank Chief Register, SAC Peralta, and District Attorney Reynolds for hosting us here today. I want to thank them also for their leadership and their tenacity that they've shown in taking down this gang. The law enforcement actions announced today represent a significant blow to the violence plaguing too many communities throughout Georgia. Since its inception nearly 2 decades ago, the Ghostface Gangsters are now estimated to include thousands of members throughout Georgia, both inside and outside the prison system. The gang is a highly organized, hierarchical, criminal enterprise governed by written gang literature and strictly enforced gang rules. Its members use violence, including murder, kidnapping, assault, and witness intimidation, as well as drug distribution and financial fraud schemes, often conducted from behind bars using contraband cell phones to enforce these gang rules and to protect and promote the enterprise. As alleged in today's indictment, the Ghostface Gangsters have committed numerous outrageous acts of violence in furtherance of the gang's criminal activities. For example, the indictment alleges that gang members are responsible for the attempted murders of 2 individuals, one shot in the eye following a drug deal, and another stabbed in the neck and back over an alleged violation of gang rules. But the most shocking crimes that they've committed are the gang's concerted efforts to target law enforcement officers investigating their criminal activities. The indictment alleges that Ghostface Gangster members are responsible for the murders or attempted murders of 6 law enforcement officials, all of whom were performing their sworn duties to protect and defend the public from these violent criminals. The Department of Justice will not tolerate such brazen attacks on the honorable men and women of law enforcement who defend the innocent, who protect our families, our communities, and our country from drugs and violence. We will not stand back and let rates of violent crime and drug addiction rise here in Georgia or elsewhere, nor will we cede one community, one block, or one street corner to violent criminals and drug dealers like the Ghostface Gangsters. The Attorney General and the Department of Justice are committed to combating violent crime and the flow of dangerous drugs into our communities, and to supporting the federal, state, and local law enforcement officials standing on the front lines. We see that effort at work not only here in the Northern District of Georgia in this important takedown, but also in the work of the Organized Crime and Gang Section at Maine Justice, which in 2017 supported our U.S. Attorney's offices around the nation in 120 RICO prosecutions involving 721 defendants. Strong law enforcement actions and prosecutions like this case announced today, and the work of the Northern District of Georgia U.S. Attorney's Office, the work that they do every day, are critical to reducing violent crime in America. This case is the result of the outstanding work of ATF, the Cobb County Police Department, the Georgia Department of Corrections, the U.S. Attorney's Office here in the Northern District, and the Organized Crime Section, the Organized Crime and Gang Section of the DOJ's Criminal Division. The department is grateful for their efforts and for their daily sacrifice to thwart violent crime in our communities and to take dangerous gang members off the streets.
Good afternoon. I'm Greg Dozier, the Commissioner of the Georgia Department of Corrections. First, I'd like to thank our partners up here. Today is a big day when you look at the department and you see the talk of the gang activity. As we know, over 70% of those incarcerated in Georgia's system is in there on a primary violent offense. As we look at that coupled with gang activity, with almost 24% of our population having some type of gang affiliation, we continue to battle ongoing criminal activity on a daily basis. It's joint efforts like this that actually helps us protect the public and ensure that when they are locked in our facilities, they are no longer profiting from the activities that place them there. Once again, I'd like to thank the men and women that took the effort above them, and I'd like to say that we continue to vigilantly fight the contraband in prison that oftentimes ties to the connectivity to those criminal activities on the street. Cell phones in the prison is just something we've got to battle, and as we continue to work with our partners at FCC and other entities to fight that, days like today make it even more important. So thank you for being here, and as we continue to battle this, we look forward to future arrests just as these. Thank you.
This time we would like to have ATF SAC Special Agent in Charge, our parole.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a significant case. It's significant because it illustrates the success that multiple law enforcement agencies can have when they focus their resources and their attention on one violent criminal group. I'd be willing to bet that yesterday, many of the individuals that are currently in federal custody thought that they had gotten away with their previous bad acts. Today, they know that's not the case. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is proud to stand side by side with our federal, state, and local partners, and we will continue to do so as long as there are violent crime issues that plague our streets and in our communities. Now, I know that crime is going to occur, but the bottom line is this. If you condone the use of a gun, if you threaten the use of a gun, and most importantly, if you pull the trigger of a gun while committing your crime, we will find you. We will investigate you, and we will do everything that we legally can do to prosecute you and ensure that you spend the maximum amount of time in federal prison. Thank you.
I'm Chief Michael Register of the Cobb County Police Department, and I'd like to echo what's already been said. I think that everyone now has an understanding of the dangerous nature of this gang, and I want to personally thank our federal, state, and local partners in assisting in this matter. You know, this arrest, it should not stand as just a function of arrest. It should stand as a display of the commitment that we have. When I say we, our federal partners, our state partners, and our local partners in addressing dangerous gangs in our community. And I believe that what we have done today has made this community safer, and certainly I think it has made communities across the nation safer. And going forward, I know each and every one of the people up here, we work very closely together, and I think we all have pledged and are committed to continue the fight against the dangerous gangs that plague our communities across this great country called America. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here today, and I think the next person up to speak is our Cobb County District Attorney, Vic Reynolds.
Thank you, Chief. I'll be very brief. Good afternoon. I'm Vic Reynolds. I'm the DA here in Cobb County. Just want to take a moment to commend U.S. Attorney Pack, our federal partners, for what they've done today. You know, we've drawn a very fine line in the sand here in Cobb County. We do not, will not tolerate gang-motivated crime in this area. We will prosecute you very zealously, very aggressively, but the reality is they simply go across county lines. They know no boundaries, and in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish in ridding this area of these particular folks, the only way we can do that is with federal partnerships, with state partnerships, and I'm very honored today that we've taken a step in that direction. So again, my commendations to U.S. Attorney Pack, to our federal partners or state partners, and again, kudos to all my local folks here for everything they've done. Thank you.
At this time, we'll open up for some questions if you have any.
When and where did the arrest take place? What's the time frame?
This morning. We started at 6 a.m. ATF, Cobb County, and other local partners arrested the people that were not in custody and arrested the people that were in custody in prisons and jails across Georgia and put them in solitary confinement and searched their cells for contraband.
So of the 23 that were arrested, how many were already out versus how many were in prison? What's the breakdown?
We had only 3 that were not in custody. Some of them are in prison, some of them are in jail on local charges.
Is this group a white supremacist group, Ghostface Gangsters?
They are majority white, but they don't have supremacist views. They're not racist. They claim, some of them claim to want to have other members, black members, African American. Others claim that they don't, so there's a mixed feeling about that.
So you mentioned 2,000. There are 2,000 that are actively here in Georgia, you believe?
Those are the documented Ghostface gang members from the Georgia Department of Corrections. There are others. There are thousands more that are not in prison.
Approximately 5,000 in Georgia and parts of Tennessee and Alabama.
How big of a blow is this to the organization? Can you talk about the role in the gang these people charged had?
We have 3 of the original pillars that they call them charged in our indictment, and the rest of them have held different ranks through the years. Their ranks are fungible. They change often. They have lieutenants, capos, people that are in charge of literature because they actually have some bylaws and some literature. people that are enforcers, people that are called violators who do the enforcing. So there's a lot of different roles that these people have played that are indicted in this indictment.
How do they recruit in the community and inside prison, and they don't use racial identity as part of their recruiting?
Well, what we've seen is mostly white members. We have had, in the past, they've had some affiliation with Gangster Disciples, and that was within the prison system. They aligned for certain things, and we understand that they do sell drugs to each other at a discount. The way they recruit is that they approach young men, mostly, that are in the prison system who have shown that they have some ability to fight or to protect themselves. And that also happens outside the prison. We haven't seen that much recruitment of women. We have seen some.
The 23 people who were charged this morning, what kind of crimes did they commit in the past?
Well, we have everything from multiple drugs, distribution of multiple different drugs, including methamphetamine, oxycodone, marijuana, some heroin, other pills. We have attempted murder, we have kidnapping, we have aggravated assault or severe beatings, we have maiming. We have, as alleged in our indictment, one incident where 2 gang members, ordered by a third, actually cut a tattoo off of a gang member because he had violated the gang rules.
And you believe that they consciously target law enforcement?
It seems that way because we've had so many shootings in the past, and a lot of them happen when they are being pursued by law enforcement.
Are drug sales their primary source of revenue? How do they
Yes,
sustain themselves?
that's correct. That's what we understand.
So you mentioned meth. Any cocaine, marijuana?
We haven't seen that much cocaine, not since the early 2000s, but marijuana has been a big part.
So are these people living amongst us, if you will? Are they in suburban Cobb County?
Some are in other counties that are in the Northern District of Georgia. Some don't look like gang members, some do. Some are heavily tattooed, as you can see from, well, we haven't shown it yet, I guess, from the picture board, but some of the women look like regular, normal women.
Oh, what percentage of women?
Well, we indicted 6. As far as a percentage, it's going to be a very low percentage of women that are actually gang members. Most of them are termed associates of the gang.
But 6 of the 23 this morning were women.
That's correct.
Are you going to show us your suspects?
I believe we are. Sure. We have a photo board. Where is it? These are the 23 members that were indicted, and the indictment was unsealed this morning.
Do you expect more arrests?
It's possible.
Any more questions?
Where did the arrests take place that suspects who weren't already incarcerated?
At their homes.
Where?
Cobb County, Rockdale County, and one in Ohio.
Is there a network? Do they have like a network that they work with? Could you explain how it works?
Well, they do keep in touch, and they do have conference calls, if you will, and video chats. And they are able to communicate with people inside the prisons who use contraband cell phones to have video chats with those who are outside the prison.
You mentioned the 3 original pillars of the Ghostface Gangsters. Are they on that board?
They are Jeffrey Barassa, David Powell, and Joseph Props.
How long have they been members?
Well, they were the originators of the gang since 2000. It started in the Cobb County Jail.
They were already locked. They were already locked up.
They were locked up in the Cobb County Jail when they, I guess, started the gang. It was their idea. The 3 are Jeffrey Barassa, David Powell, and Joseph Props.
Can you point them out, ma'am?
Okay. This is Jeffrey Barassa. This is Joseph Props. Where's Joseph? Where's Powell? David Powell. A lot of them have Ghostface tattoos all over their bodies. Some, you can see, have tattoos on their necks their faces, and you can't see here, but arms and legs as well, backs, chests.
Were those three killers already in custody this morning?
Yes.
Were they at the state prison or at Cobb County Jail?
All three are in state prison.
So it seems there's a breakdown at state prison that they're able to infiltrate the prisons and recruit and continue to sell drugs.
Well, that's one thing that we are addressing, along with the Department of Corrections partners.
Mr. Dozier, could you answer the question about how cell phone intercepts are going?
Yes. Thank you for the question, because that is a huge issue, and we battle it each and every day. Cell phones and contraband come in a multitude of ways. We've discussed that in the past with you guys, but just to quickly reiterate it, it either comes in through family members bringing it in visitation, comes in on work details. We have inmates that go out for work details, and contraband is dropped off at a work site and it's snuck back in. Our back gate is just like any city. We have produce trucks coming in, things coming in the back gate that are checked, but we're always finding contraband. One example, if you look at our Facebook page, you'll see many, but one example is just in the cabbage. Lately we've been having to check the cabbage extremely closely. They've been hauled out and are full of drugs and cell phones. The biggest issue we've been fighting lately is drones. We have had drones breaching our perimeter and dropping contraband packages off in different locations in the facility. And if you know anything about the technology of drones these days, you can have a cell phone and have the coordinates, and that drone can fly directly to the coordinates. So if an inmate has an illegal cell phone and turns it on, they can actually fly that drone to that person if they're able to get outside the custody or the view of that officer. So we battle that each and every day. We spend a lot of money on that. We have nets up around our facilities. We light them up like football fields. We have scanners as far as in different locations, metal detectors and things as inmates are traveling through the facilities. We have body scanners like TSA has at many of our facilities, so that when individuals come in the facility, they have to be scanned. There's a host of things that we've been doing. In addition to that, we have 33 investigators that are assigned to all 33 of the prisons solely to focus on this, that do not report to the warden, but report directly up through our criminal investigation unit, on top of our 77 investigators who work these kind of cases on a daily basis. So the agency takes this very serious, and we're fighting a hard fight.
What is the consequence for having an illegal cell phone when you're already in on a murder charge?
Great question. Obviously, with the illegal cell phone comes disciplinary reports and different privileges taken while they're in prison, as well as if we connect that illegal cell phone to a criminal act, new charges will come. But at the same time, these individuals are serving long sentences. So it's a difficult balance, as you mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you very much.